If you're not taking advantage of compound interest right now, you're leaving potentially thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of pounds, dollars, or euros on the table. And no, that is not an exaggeration. Compound interest is probably the most underrated financial tool out there, and it's one of the biggest reasons wealthy people stay wealthy. But the thing is, you don't need to be rich to start using it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what compound interest actually is, why it's such a big deal, and how you can use it to your advantage with a simple framework called the 8-4-3 rule. Don't worry if you're completely new to all of this. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of how this works and how to start applying it, even if you're working with a small amount of money. First, let's break down the concept of compound interest. When people say your money can make money, this is what they're talking about. Let's say you save some money and put it into a savings account. The bank pays you a little extra as a thank you for keeping your money with them. That thank you is called interest. Now, with simple interest, you only earn money on the original amount you saved. But with compound interest, you're earning interest not just on what you saved, but also on the interest you've already earned. Let's go through an example to make it clearer. Say you put $100 into an account that earns 5% interest every year. After 1 year, you've made $5. That's $105 total now. But here's where it gets interesting. The next year, you don't just earn 5% on the original $100, you earn 5% on the whole $105. That means you earn $5.25 in year 2. By year 3, it's even more. This might seem small at first, but over time it snowballs. The more time you give it, the faster it grows. And what's great about this is that you don't have to do anything extra. You're literally making money while you sleep. Now that you get the basics, let's talk about the 8-4-3 rule. This is a simple way to understand how compound interest works over time, and it's a good framework to stick to. Here's how it breaks down. If you invest money at a consistent annual return, let's say 9% for this example, your money will double in about 8 years. Leave it alone for another 4 years and it'll quadruple. Let it sit for 3 more years and it will grow to 8 times what you started with. That is the power of patience and compounding working together. Let's use some numbers to understand this better. Say you start with $1,000. If you invest it and earn an average annual return of 9%, by the end of 8 years, that $1,000 will grow to around $2,000. That's because the compounding effect has had time to work. Now, if you keep that $2,000 invested for another 4 years, it doesn't just double again, it grows to $4,000. And if you let it sit for 3 more years after that, you've got about $8,000. That is 8 times what you started with, all from letting your money sit and compound. The reason the 8-4-3 rule works so well is that it shows how your money grows exponentially. In the first phase, it takes a full 8 years to double, but in the last phase, it doubles in just 3 years. That's because compounding does not grow in a straight line. It accelerates over time. Again, it's like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, it's small and slow, but the farther it rolls, the bigger and faster it gets. This is why starting early is so important. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. Every year you delay isn't just a missed year of saving, it is a missed opportunity for exponential growth. Think about this. If you waited 8 years to start, you're not just behind by 8 years. You've missed out on the first doubling phase entirely, which could be worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. That is how much money you could be missing out on. But knowing how compound interest works is only half the battle. The next step is figuring out where to put your money so it can compound effectively. This is where most people get overwhelmed, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Let's break it down. If you're looking for growth over a long period, like saving for retirement or a big financial goal, investing in the stock market is one of the most effective ways to take advantage of compound interest. Now, I know the stock market can sound intimidating, but hear me out. One of the simplest ways to invest is through something called an index fund. An index fund is like a giant basket of investments that tracks the performance of the overall market. Instead of trying to pick individual stocks, which can be risky, you're investing in the whole market. Over time, the market tends to go up, which is why it's a great option for long-term growth. Let's say you're not ready to dive into investing yet. That's totally okay. You can still benefit from compound interest by using a high-yield savings account. This is just a savings account that pays you a higher interest rate than a regular one. It's not going to grow your money as fast as the stock market, but it's a great option for short-term goals or if you want a safer place to park your money. The key is finding an account with a decent interest rate, one that's higher than inflation if possible. Inflation, by the way, is the general increase in prices over time. If your money isn't growing at least as fast as inflation, it's actually losing value. Now, no matter where you put your money, there are a few rules to keep in mind. First, consistency is everything. The more regularly you save or invest, the more momentum your compounding gains will have. Even small amounts can add up over time if you're consistent. Second, do not touch the money unless you absolutely have to. Compounding works best when you leave it alone. Every time you withdraw money, you're not just taking out the amount you withdrew, you're also losing all the potential growth that money could have earned in the future. Another thing to watch out for is fees. If you're investing, make sure you're not paying too much in management fees. Even a 1% fee might not sound like a lot, but over time it can eat into your returns in a big way. Look for low-cost options like index funds or ETFs, which tend to have much lower fees. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but I don't have a lot of money to start with. Let me stop you right there. You don't need a ton of money to take advantage of compound interest. In fact, starting small is perfectly fine. The most important thing is just to start. Even if you're only saving $10 or $50 a month, that is enough to get the ball rolling. Over time, as your income grows, you can increase your contributions. But don't wait for the perfect moment to start because the perfect moment is right now. Here's a practical activity that's worked well for me: reverse engineering financial goals. Say you want a retirement pot of $500,000 by the time you're 65. First, you decide when you want to achieve that goal. Let's say you're 30 right now. That gives you 35 years to save and invest. Start with the end number, $500,000 in this example. Using the 8-4-3 rule, you know your money doubles roughly every 8 years with a 9% annual return. Work backward. If you need $500,000 in 35 years, divide it by 8 to find out how much you need to start with today, about $62,500. That is your target amount to invest now to hit your goal, if you leave it to compound. But let's say you don't have $62,500 just sitting around. That's okay. You can break this down into smaller monthly contributions. Start by figuring out how much you can save each month. Use the compound interest calculator to see how those monthly contributions add up over time. For example, if you save $500 a month and invest it at 9%, you'll reach that $500,000 goal in 35 years. If $500 feels like a stretch, start with what you can afford. Even $100 a month is better than nothing, and you can increase it as your income grows. This works for any goal, not just retirement. Want to save for a house deposit in 15 years? Use the same process. Decide how much you need and when you'll need it, then work backward. If your goal is $40,000, divide by 8 to find the starting amount if you let it compound for 15 years. If you don't have that much upfront, figure out how much you'll need to save each month. The 8-4-3 rule is powerful because it gives you a clear framework to plan and measure your progress. It's not just about guessing or hoping your money will grow. It's about knowing exactly how much you need to invest and for how long. And remember to adjust for life changes. If you get a raise, think about putting some of that extra income into your investments. If your goal changes, like deciding to retire earlier, recalculate using the same process. Your plan should be flexible, but the principles stay the same. What do you think about compound interest? And have you heard of the 8-4-3 rule before? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.